Hey everyone, today we're coming at you with a gun that borders on magical in my mind, the PDP F from Walther. So, what's their secret?
Strong enough for a man, but made for a woman.
Oh, that makes sense. Come on, let's check it out. When Walther came out with the PDP in 2020, I was one of a lucky few to attend an early introduction. A handful of folks flew out to the site in Illinois and slogged through an ambitious 2-day training on the new gun. Our instructors were none other than the Walther Defense Division. Top-tier teachers like Tatiana Whitlock, Scott Judlinski, Bill Blowers, Nick Young, and Jim Dexter. They ran us through a wide variety of scenarios with the new pistols in all kinds of weather and conditions. The PDPs performed extremely well, and I was thoroughly convinced of their quality after such a thorough shakedown. I was so convinced, in fact, I started carrying the gun on duty since I was still a peace officer at the time. There have been a few iterations and updates for the PDP over the last couple years, but one of the most exciting was the recent announcement of the F. The ergonomics of the PDP are phenomenal, but it seems like the grip might have been a bit girthy for smaller-handed folks. One of the interesting things behind the PDP's development was the feedback gathered from the Walther Defense Division for the engineers. They had active participation in the gun's creation. Carrying on in that theme, the engineers listened when the ladies reached out and said they wished the grip could accommodate them better. The experts didn't just make a smaller grip. They measured thousands of people in an effort to understand the fundamental differences between male and female hands, picking up general differences along the way. They reduced the overall circumference of the grip, but also decreased the length of pull or the distance between the backstrap and the trigger. Walther didn't stop there. They went on to reduce the force required to rack the slide by 20%. All these upgrades, combined with the already impressive features included on the PDP, make for a potent handgun. It's optics ready, has super terrain serrations, the performance duty texture, and one of the best stock striker-fired triggers out there. When my wife picked up the PDP F at the NRA annual meeting, I saw her eyes light up. The decreased grip circumference allowed her to obtain a much more complete grip than she was used to. I picked up the gun and was surprised when it fit my hand too. How did they do this? Witchcraft. We determined together to find out just what the team at Walther had cooked up and how well it would perform. A few weeks later, we headed out to the range and started working through some drills. My blushing bride is a beginning shooter, but has enough experience to know what she likes. Thankfully, we enjoy a relationship where I can provide her with instruction without the two of us fighting like cats and dogs by the end of the experience. We loaded up some ammo and began working on fundamentals. It was clear almost immediately that her ability to mitigate recoil was greatly aided by the thinner grip on the PDP F. Being able to get both her hands around the grip left fewer gaps and increased contact points between her hands and the gun. Performance improved as we ran drills focusing on grip, stance, and trigger control. One of the most important observations was not having to rotate her strong hand forward in order to reach the trigger. This had created a bigger gap with other guns she had fired previously. The shorter length of pull allowed her to establish a good grip that allowed trigger manipulation without compromising her ability to hold on to the gun. I couldn't resist the chance to try the gun too and ran a few courses of fire. During my first accuracy shots from 7 yards, I hit 3 shots, all touching. Everything else ran just like I expected on the PDP. The accuracy was great, the trigger superb, the ergonomics were sound, and the reliability was unfailing. There were only 2 observations I made that might be considered negatives depending on your perspective. One is an old one from me. With my high grip and big hands, I tend to ride the slide release and don't always get locked back on the last round.
It's going to be a challenge today, isn't it? Some days are more challenging than others. And you know what's so nice about it being here in Texas? The sun kindly illuminates everything that we do. Now, right about now, you could play one of those sounds from the Old West, get the lens flare going, and You're well on your way to a Western, my friend.
The other is Walther seems to have snuck in an upgrade to their optic system. I tried mounting a plate and optic from another PDP to a new F, and that's when I learned things had changed. There is now a vertical channel running through the top of the slide that requires a groove in the optics plate. This is by no means a deal breaker, since Walther will send you whatever plate you want when you pick up a PDP, but don't think you can go swapping plates between the originals and the F. Regardless, I was continually impressed with how well the gun fit my wife's hand without feeling too tiny in my own. I would fully encourage anyone with smaller hands to go pick up a PDP F at your local gun store and marvel at the feel. That's going to do it for the PDP F. The techno wizards at Walther have really created something unique that centers on smaller handed shooters without neglecting their counterparts. We'd like to thank Remington for sending us out ammo to test this gun. We'd also like to thank Walther for sending out the F. Hey! Oh shit!